Hey everybody, welcome to this Friday's live stream. I was out for the last couple of weeks for, reasons. Hey, even YouTubers need vacation, right? But I'm back today, and I'm very pleased because what we're doing today is talking about home security. I'm switching it up a little bit. A lot of times I talk about streaming, but today I'm going to be talking about home security products, and I'm doing it in a really fun way because... here, let me close that window. Okay, because today I have a guest with me. Usually it's just me shouting into the void, but today I've got Katie. She's from safewise.com. Katie, welcome.
Hey, happy to scream into the void with you.
That's right. So if you're unfamiliar, safewise.com is like the go-to place for like really focusing on home security stuff. You guys do other stuff as well, like info security and.
We cover digital security, automotive security, home security, family security. We also do the really fun stuff like smart home, which kind of ties into home security. You can make things convenient and safe at the same time. No need for them to be exclusive.
Right.
Yeah, we cover pretty much anything smart home or safety.
And, over at Reviews.org, where I'm a contributor, we have a home security vertical. And we have Steve on our channel who does a lot of home security and smart home stuff. But, that's one of many things that we cover. You guys are focused totally on that. And so it's a really great go-to place if anybody is curious about it. But today we're going to have a lot more fun than just talking about different home security companies. And so I hope people join in. I know there's only a few people watching right now. Usually more will join in. But today we're going to be ranking home security products. And I'll show people what I'm talking about. So I've got a tier list that, with all the different types of home security products that you can get. And we're going to be talking about which ones are vital, which ones are, worth a purchase. And we're doing this in light of a wonderful, fantastical scenario. And by wonderful, I mean horrible. And so we're talking about the Purge. What would you need to survive the Purge? We're going to be ranking things that way. So, Katie, as I understand it, you have not ever seen the Purge.
I haven't. I understand the basic gist of it. And I was doing a little homework before this and learned that Purge Day is actually coming up next week. It's March 21st, according to
it's a real thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not real, but in the movies, yeah, it has an actual date. So everyone lock your doors next week.
So yeah, I mean, if you're not familiar with The Purge, it's this movie that came out years ago. And the premise is, I saw it, but let's be honest, it was in one ear and out the other. I forgot most of it.
A little messy, yeah.
Yeah, but it's in the future, the United States institutes Purge Day, and it's like from sundown to sunup, or is it sunup to sunup? Whatever. For one day or for one night, all crime is legal. Murder and rape and theft and whatever, it's all legal. And so whatever. So it tells the story of a family trying to survive the Purge, right? And these people are coming after them in their house. That's about right?
That's what I understand. I mean, it made me wonder, like, why would people's go-to crime be murder when you can, I don't know, steal the stuff at Walmart, or I don't know, like do some of the more obscure crimes like jaywalking. I don't know. I feel like there would be more fun things to do than actually killing someone.
Skip straight to murder. Yeah, no.
Maybe that's just me. Yeah, that feels like you're escalating it really fast.
I won't ask you what laws you really want to break. We'll leave that alone. But I did want to also remind people before we get started on all this ranking stuff. On these Friday live streams, we do a giveaway every Friday, and so it's one reason that I hope you're here, that you check us out every Friday and enjoy these live streams. This week, to get you started on your home security system, helping you build out your home security system, we're going to give away a Blink Mini. Now, the Blink Mini is an indoor security camera. It does 1080p. It hooks up to your Echo. We don't want to say her name. You know, she's always listening. So it hooks into all that. We're going to be giving that away. So if you are interested in that, then go into the description. Go check out the link to the giveaways page. And I should also pin that. I'll see if I can pin that on the chat. But anyway, with that giveaway, you have a few ways to enter. I think you can get up to 3 entries. One for following us on Twitter. One for visiting our Reviews.org home security page. And then a third entry if you go check out the SafeWise YouTube channel, where Katie is a contributor. And she's much, much funnier than I am, by the way. So you really should go check out her channel.
I don't know if that's true.
Oh, no, I remember seeing a video a while ago that just floored me. It was hilarious. Anyway, point being, you should go check out their channel. If this is a topic you're interested in, then go check out the SafeWise channel, subscribe to that. And if you go over there, then that'll get you an entry for the Blink Mini. So again, that is in the description. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find. Yeah, there's the giveaways page. Let's. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'm going to get the real link for that and share it in the chat. There we go. Okay, so you can go check that out. Now, Katie, should we get to the fun stuff?
Let's do it.
Okay, so this is a tier maker. If you've never seen this before, these are popular on certain types of channels, but I've never used it on the Reviews.org channel before. If you're unfamiliar with it, this is basically a grading system. And because this is used by a lot of like gamers and anime folks, it uses a Japanese grading system. So instead of A, B, C, D, F, it goes S, A, B, C, D. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is taking these kind of generic products. We're going to be talking about, smart locks and security cameras and smart plugs and that sort of thing. And we're going to be ranking them, giving them a grade and talking about each one. We'll have individual recommendations for each of these. But we'll kind of just go through this. But I am curious to hear if anybody has anything to add in the chat. If you start disagreeing with our rankings, then we can hash it out in the chat. I'll love to hear from you guys. So, Katie, the first thing that people think about when they think about a home security system has to be a camera, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Cameras are, pretty popular, and they've become even more popular in the last few years. You can get an HD camera for $30. They're really popular. They're super easy to hook up, and you can get them for inside your home or outside the home. So, even without a purge scenario going on, they're a pretty good idea for if you, say, order packages a lot and get a lot of Amazon deliveries. They're awesome for keeping away porch pirates, people who snag your packages and might take whatever you ordered. You can catch them in the act, talk to them through cameras. They're really handy.
And in our purge scenario, a camera is going to be pretty vital, right? Yeah. Anytime you're talking about security, information is key, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to know who is where. Anyway, so as far as ranking goes, it makes sense to me that a camera is vital. Not just a camera, but probably a series of cameras, right?
Yeah, and I'd say like most of these items that we've picked are more defensive as far as like, I don't know, the actual purge scenario. I don't think that any of these are going to necessarily like hurt anyone or keep someone from attacking you. It's more like, how can we keep people away from the house in the first place?
Right.
Like that's a lot more realistic than the purge scenario, which is probably what you want in the first place, is just to not have anyone you don't want in your house come in your house.
So I think we're cool then with giving that an S tier. That's a vital piece of equipment, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
And then the next one would be the smart lock. Now, there. Oh, okay. We're going to be maybe talking about a couple different types of locks, but the smart lock, how vital is it really for your lock to be smart?
So the big difference between smart locks and dumb locks, they're not dumb locks. They're doing their best. Smart locks like connect to your phone or use some kind of electronic component versus say a deadbolt that you might have come standard on your door. And so smart locks will be good if you're in and out of the house or if you're away and you want to lock the door or let someone in. But as far as like a purge scenario, I'm not sure they would be much more handy because I would imagine you want to stay where you're at if it comes to a purge kind of thing. So I don't know. I put them as maybe an A or a B.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say just the lock is more important than the smart aspect. So yeah. So for now, I'll go ahead and make this a B. It's not vital, but it's nice to have.
It would be nice after the purge, so you can let your friends who survived in without having to leave your panic room, and then the camera can pick up who's actually at the door.
But I like, so we should move on and talk about the other kinds of locks, right? Because this is going to go along with it. And by the way, for everybody watching, if you go check out the description, I've got Katie's list of all of these devices. And if I was able to find one on Amazon, I put an Amazon link on there. If there's a good page on SafeWise where they've, actually gone into detail on the best smart locks and the best security cameras or whatever, then you'll find all that there. So go check the description if you're interested in more of this. Anyway, okay, so having a smart lock may not be that vital, but what about other types of locks? Give me, what's our category here, and how does it rank as far as our purge scenario?
So the ideas I got for this one came from our best door locks for apartments and renters page. These are ones that can be temporary, but they're still strong as hell. So these are ones that will jam the door or reinforce a deadbolt. So if someone's going to come in and kick your door down, it will have a lot harder time doing it than say a smart lock, which is usually just a deadbolt. So these can work for, say, hotel rooms, apartments. You can still get your security deposit back after the purge if you survive it. These are really good for more just reinforcing the door and keeping people out that you don't want in your house.
There was one that you mentioned to me a while ago. It was the
I think it's the Defender.
Yeah, the Defender lock, where it's like $15, and it looks pretty heavy duty.
It's awesome. It's about $15, like you said, and it's just really thick steel. Comes in several fashionable colors, which is nice. You got to accessorize no matter what. And it's you basically screw it into the door frame, and it'll latch close. It'll latch close over the door, and it is a strong little bugger that will keep your door locked, even if the deadbolt's not locked.
Okay. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the door lock, just like door locks, period, the not smart variety or whatever, that's going to be an S, right? I mean, if you're trying to keep purgers out of your house.
If you want a super affordable way to stay alive during the apocalypse, that's a really great start.
Lock your door.
That would drop a lot of money to keep these jerks out.
I feel like this is the start of is it McSweeney's? Like a McSweeney's book? Affordable ways to stay alive during the apocalypse.
And look good while doing it.
Exactly, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to rank that even above the cameras. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, like we said, it's really about unless you want to go out and do some purging yourself, which I don't recommend. It's probably a good idea just to hunker down and keep your house safe and keep people out. And I mean, what does the purge last? Like what, half a day? was it like 12 hours, something like that? You can hang out at home for 12 hours. We've been doing it for a full year. So yeah, I'd say basic locks are probably the best place to start.
Okay, all right, good. Well, okay, I'm gonna leave the this thing till maybe a little bit later. Okay, motion sensors. Motion sensors are kind of similar to security cameras in that the purpose of it is to, in our Purge scenario here, is to track movement, right? And with a good motion sensor or a setup, if you set it up just right, you could theoretically have it like, send you a notification or like turn on a really specific light or something. Like each motion sensor could do something different. So you could set them up around the yard, around the house or whatever, so that you can track movement all around. It's that information is vital to survive the apocalypse. You can't be flying blind. So I'm thinking that's pretty important. The question is it as important as locks and cameras, or do we give it like an A, or would you rank it even lower?
I would say an A or a B. I think when you get into the home automation stuff, you can get really creative with things like motion sensors or smart plugs or smart lights and stuff. And you can get kind of chain reactions where if someone, I don't know, say passes one threshold, then a siren goes off, or if they pass another threshold, the lights start blinking. I mean, you can get into a real like Temple of Doom scenario with just like booby traps and all kinds of crazy stuff. But motion sensors are good because they have a weight limit where they will sense objects moving at say 50 pounds and up. So they'll kind of ignore pets in the area. If you have say smaller dogs, I don't know what to tell the Great Dane owners out there, but they're probably going to set off your alarm. But yeah, motion sensors could be good around the perimeter. They can usually cover a full room if you set it up in the corner of your say living room or anywhere like a hallway or an entrance. And you'll get an alert on say your phone or within the security system that some movement has been detected.
Yeah. Here we go.
You're getting some movies. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I would make a horrible Indiana Jones. Okay.
I don't know. I think it's worth a shot.
Well, I'd take the paycheck. I mean, I'll do the movie. Yeah. I'll do the movie. I'm just saying, people aren't going to like it. And the other thing is, I would want somebody totally off the wall to direct my Indiana Jones movie. So.
Indiana Jones by Wes Anderson. Just lots of symmetry. It's all pastels.
I want, in honor of yesterday's big release, I want my Craig Hanks and the Temple of Doom movie directed by Zack Snyder, and I want it to be minimum 4 hours long. So
yeah. We need a full backstory.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about the next thing on the list. In fact, I'm gonna move this down a little bit. We'll come back to that in a bit. Is this our Siren?
Yeah, that's the Siren.
Siren. Okay.
I thought the kind of generic image for this one. Sirens are a tricky one because they can kind of fit anywhere. I've seen cameras with built-in sirens. There are a lot of security systems have keypads with sirens built in. That's probably one that a lot of people are familiar with. The code pad, and if someone smashes it, for example, it'll sound an alarm. I mean, as far as like a purge scenario, I think one siren might end up blending into all of the sirens going off at once. So it's kind of just a drop in the bucket.
Here's my thinking on the siren question. In a normal scenario, your regular home security system, a siren is, if not vital, it's useful, right? Because you're scaring people off. They're counting on, they're trying to break in, they're trying to be sneaky. Siren goes off, they're out of there, right?
Yeah.
In a purge scenario, they're not going to be scared off by a siren. Nobody's coming to help you. The cops aren't on the way. No, like it's a siren, And so in our Purge scenario, I'm ranking this one pretty low.
Yeah, I would say a D. I mean, like we established, if the purge is going on, there's probably going to be a lot of sirens happening all at once. And I mean, you and your neighbors' neighbors are probably all going to have sirens sounding because it's chaos.
Right.
But in the normal world, I would say a siren's pretty important because if someone, say, breaks glass or smashes your keypad in or something, your neighbors are going to know, or you're going to know if it's the middle of the night. But usually a lot of break-ins happen kind of during the day when everybody's gone for work. So it would be good to have just for someone in the neighborhood to hear. And it scares off anyone trying to get into your house. If they know that your house is armed and you're watching your stuff, they're not going to want to mess with you.
Right. Yeah. But in our Purge scenario, not so much.
Purge scenario, not so much.
All right. So smart lights. This is we're talking about a smart home product. This isn't something that you're going to get in a home security package. You go to Simply Safe or Vivint or whatever. They're not going to send you any smart lights. However, I include smart lights in my thinking about a home security system, just for reasons that are probably obvious to people, right? So a camera, most cameras, if they're not night vision, they're going to need light to see by. Most people who are trying to break in the front door or sneak in the back door, they want to do that in the dark, and so a light is going to be helpful. In our Purge scenario, though, what is the smart light doing for us, do we think?
It's mood lighting for the panic room. I mean, you can.
Okay, can that be? Will you please write an autobiography titled "Mood Lighting for the
Panic Room"? Done.
That is amazing. That might be the best phrase I've ever heard. Okay.
The scene here for a second. I would say for the Purge scenario, you can use your smart lights to turn them off without needing to shut off every single light. I imagine in a Purge scenario, you want it to look as like the very opposite of normal life is you don't want it to look like anyone's home. You want it to look like the house is vacant, right? I mean, I guess people might come in and try and steal stuff, but at least you're not going to get murdered. So maybe you can use them to turn off the lights from your phone, like from your hiding place, or you can turn on the lights to, I don't know, see if there's a sound or something, make it look like, oh, something's home or my security system's on. You hear, say, a smash or something. I've never been in a Purge personally, so I'm new at this. But yeah, I would say they could be handy, but not so much in a Purge scenario.
Yeah. I mean, you could do some like Home Alone stuff with them, as far as like they're making their way through your house. Sorry, the jets are going overhead, so they get pretty noisy. But somebody's making their way through your house, and then you turn the lights off and confuse them.
You can
I don't know, whatever.
Make them think someone's home, or you can kind of like the motion sensor or the smart plug, which I think we're going to get to in a second. You can get to some fancy home automation stuff. Things like these are a lot more fun without people roaming the streets trying to kill you.
Yeah.
As most things are.
So I'm giving it a C. It's probably more useful than a Siren in our Purge scenario, but not very useful.
Yeah.
But in a regular security system or a smart home setup, like they're going to be much higher. In fact, I've got 13 of them in this room. So
I personally have a couple Wise bulbs, and I love them. They're awesome. I read a lot in bed, and it's really nice to just not get out of bed after I'm falling asleep and just yell at my Google Home, and everything's done, and I'm ready to go to bed. It's awesome.
Now you mentioned smart plugs. Let's do smart plugs. This is one that I think is going to be much more versatile, and so much more useful than a smart light specifically.
Yeah, I think this one is definitely where you can get really creative, because plugs basically just let you turn any standard electronic appliance, anything that plugs into the wall, it makes it basically remote control. So you can turn on the toaster from your panic room. So you can have, toast with the mood lighting in your panic room. You can turn on hair dryers. You can turn on the TV. You can turn on a stereo. Basically anything that plugs into the wall, you can control from your phone with one of these. So that's where you can get into a lot of the really creative booby trap territory.
Yeah, really Home Alone these guys. It's not in door lock territory. Is it in motion sensor territory, or is it so basically A or B? That's where I'm trying to decide between.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards B because I think, again, if you're creative enough to use it right, it could be really helpful. Like we said, it could be Home Alone territory where I don't know, it can turn on the radio that you hide in the, like, just beyond the booby trap that you set. So when someone sneaks in there thinking like, I'm gonna kill you, and then they hit the tripwire or something, then that could help out with while you're from the safety of your hideaway space.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's ultimately going to keep anyone out.
No, it's not. I do like this. That this is fantastic. Little Red Book says it's like the clapper, but Google can spy on you. So it's perfect. That's fantastic. Okay, so but I do think I'm gonna rank it higher than the smart door lock though.
I might disagree with you on that one because I mean, I think the smart lock is still a lock, and that's going to be a little more handy in keeping people out. I mean, if you want to get really like daredevil and set booby traps for people with a smart plug, I commend you for it. But I would prefer to keep people out of my house in the first place.
Oh man, okay, controversy. If anybody wants to sound off in the comments, I'd love to hear it. But no, I will defer to the security expert here on that. Okay, what are we looking at here? Is this a smoke detector?
Yeah, that's a smoke and carbon monoxide detector. Again,
it comes in a lot of these in a lot of the home security packages, right?
Yeah, you can get a lot of the higher tier packages include them, but a lot of times, and more so than ever, you can find combination smoke and carbon monoxide detectors that do both, which I recommend just because it's less stuff to install and fewer batteries to change, fewer things to test every month. And you can even find ones now like the Nest Protect comes with a very soothing human voice that tells you there's a fire in the kitchen.
You're about to die.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you haven't seen the movie, but there's the woman who is like, "Welcome to the Purge."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's better to ease into it with a nice soothing voice. Anyway,
right, you're already in a panic. Why add to it? But I don't know. This one, as far as the Purge, I'd say don't skip on the smoke detectors ever. I mean, I think that's something you're gonna want even on non-Purge day because fires can still happen. But as far as like keeping you safe from people who wish you bad, I don't know if it's that important. But I don't know if someone's gonna like set fire to your pantry or the shed or something, then yeah, totally.
I'm gonna go ahead and rank that even below the Sirens. So what do you think? A D?
Yeah, I'd say so. It seems like arson is kind of low on the list of things people want to do on the Purge.
Well, I mean, it depends on the people.
Yeah, I mean, there are arsonists out there. Maybe like illegal fireworks is probably a lot more fun than murder. That's what I want to do for the Purge. Is I want to just buy a bunch of illegal fireworks and just like set them off in the desert or something. That sounds
there you go. So before we do the last few, I just want to remind everybody, check out the description for the giveaway. This week we are giving away Blink Mini, which is it's Amazon's cheap HD indoor security camera. So go check that out. It's a good way to start your security system. And Katie, if I remember right, with the Blink Mini and these kind of like budget cameras, you don't necessarily have to go out and buy like a really nice, screen base station for it. You can monitor it on your phone, right?
Yeah, something like the Blink Mini, the actual camera is maybe, I don't know, about the size of your hand. They're really little. And they come with apps that you download to set them up. The app will walk you through the whole setup process and everything. And then you can just see the live feed from your phone. And they usually, ones like the Blink and pretty much all security cameras out there, come with things like motion sensor or motion detection. So if someone walks by it, you'll get an alert. You can adjust the settings if you have, say, bigger pets or kids who run around the house and you don't want to have your phone blow up all the time when something happens. They also generally have two-way talk, which means it's kind of, you can use the camera as an intercom. So you can talk to anyone on the other side.
Right. Okay. So that's what we're giving away. Go check out the link in the description. You can go check that out. If you're 18 or older and you live in the US, it's really easy to enter to win one of those. And in fact, one of the ways you can do it is by going and checking out Katie's channel. It's the safewise.com YouTube channel. They do some excellent stuff. If this is a topic that you're interested in, then that's definitely a channel you should be following. And that's one of the ways you can enter to win that camera. Okay, back to our list. We've got, this is probably hard for people to tell what that is, but that is an entry sensor. So this is something you would put on your, so I'll keep it over on the left. This is something you would put on your door or your window. And the idea is it's got these little, it's usually like magnets or maybe lasers or whatever. And if it breaks, you open the door or you open the window and it separates them and it triggers whatever, an alert, an alarm, whatever the case may be. So this one, in my mind, kind of goes in the same category as the motion sensors, where it's not stopping anybody from coming in, but it's giving you information about where things are happening, right?
Yeah. And these are really handy too, where you can have them beep when something opens, or they can send a silent alert to your phone. I like motion sensors too, because it's another one you can get really creative with. That they go on doors or windows, but we like recommending them for cabinets, things like liquor cabinets if you have teenagers, medicine cabinets, the cabinet under the sink for keeping the little ones out. Anything that opens and closes, you can stick these two pieces of the sensor, and when they separate, you'll get a notification or a beep. So you'll know when someone, say, comes through the back door or comes through a window or opens the medicine cabinet. So you can get really creative with them. I've seen one, I want to say it was Wise, someone stuck one on the machine dial for a washing machine. So when it met each other, the little pieces, they knew that their load was done.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow.
I thought it was a really cool idea. But you can anything that pretty much opens or closes or meets each other, you can stick on these. They usually come with a really sticky adhesive. I think the one we have in the picture here is from Simply Safe, and they come pretty standard with most home security systems.
So Purge wise, where would you rank this?
I don't know. I think I'd stick it on. I'd put it on the A.
Yeah.
Because that way when someone has entered your home. And pairing it with a motion detector too would be really good, just so it's kind of a confirmation. So that way, if you see someone coming in through the window or someone coming in through the door, or I don't know, when someone else in your party is raiding the liquor cabinet because things are getting stressful, you know what's going on.
Okay, all right. Somebody went into the panic room to mess with your mood lighting. You got to know.
Yeah, don't mess with the panic room mood lighting. I've got it just right.
Speaking of panic, if I'm not mistaken, this is a panic button.
That is a panic button. Usually when I think of panic buttons, I still have a very like cartoony idea of just like the big red button that you hit and then all the sirens go off and it's
Right.
just chaos. But this particular one comes with Ring, and it's just a teeny little button that you can stick on your bedside table or I don't know, even carry with you. It's kind of like panic buttons that bank tellers might use. It is a silent alarm that calls the monitoring center, which I don't know how useful that would be in the purge scenario because I imagine they're going to be pretty busy. But it's helpful every other time of the year.
Yeah. No, I exactly the whole point of the panic button. Although, could you program a panic button to take actions within a smart home environment? So it's like, I have all these different scenarios set up for this room and that entrance and whatever. But could you program a panic button? Like I smash it and like all the smart locks go, the lights turn off or turn on. And I don't know what else. The siren goes off, whatever the case may be. Can you program these to your knowledge?
I'm not personally sure, but I bet someone out there could. I have no doubt that it's possible.
Yeah.
I've never heard of someone doing that, but I don't see why not. That's a great idea.
Pretty much I'm a genius is what we're learning here. Okay. But so in a purge scenario, not knowing if they can be programmed or not, we'll probably put this toward the bottom of the list, right?
I would say that's around like the sirens because it's kind of like, one scream in a pool of many. Like there's going to be so much going on during purge night anyway. I don't think it's going to do much good.
But what might is a gun. All right.
Yeah.
We're not ranking guns here, but we are ranking. We're talking about gun safes. Because if you do have one, you want to keep it safe, and this is something that you guys have covered over there on SafeWise. The best gun safes, and so, but let's think about it in our purge scenario.
I think a gun is probably the most obvious go-to for a lot of people when it comes to the purge, because they stop people dead. I mean, like that's that easy. But also, I don't know.
She said it.
I said it. But the whole like guns are one of those like really sticky topics that we don't necessarily have to go into. But as far as like hiding your firearms from any intruders or keeping them safe until Murder Christmas happens, then I think a gun safe is a really good idea.
Yeah. It's a good idea year round, obviously. In a purge scenario, I'm kind of thinking like you'd better have a gun safe that is really quickly accessible.
Yeah.
And that isn't hidden in the basement or whatever.
And you'd probably want one that's bolted down too. You don't want anyone just coming up. It's not going to be much help if someone just like steals your guns, just walks off with it. So you'd probably want one that can be bolted down or hidden in the wall. A lot of them have biometric sensors, which basically means fingerprints. So that way you can just scan your fingerprint, open it, grab your firearms, and defend your family, I guess.
So in this scenario, it's vital that my theoretical gun. I don't have a gun, but if I did, I would want it to be
completely unqualified to talk about guns.
I know. Well, I mean, whatever. More thoughts. I'll just leave it alone for now. But I would want it to be really accessible, really fast. In fact, my instinct is to say, why I don't want a gun safe because I'm going to have it on me, right? But there are in our purge scenario, you probably want a freaking armory with a ton of firearms and other weapons, and you can't carry all those on you all the time, and so you don't want the purgers to get access to it. So it's like on the one hand, gun safe is worthless, but on the other hand, it's like, maybe not quite. But even so, I might.
If you want like a backup stash, maybe like I want to go like full Scooby-Doo. There's like a big portrait that follows you around, and then you open the portrait and there's a safe behind it.
Yes.
That's I think where it would be really handy is if like, it's the middle of the purge, things are looking bad, we're real scared, grandma's bleeding in the corner,
Oh my God.
there's someone, it's gonna get dark. Someone's coming in, and I'm like, oh no, we're out of ammo. No, we're not. Open the safe hidden behind the wall, and guess what? We've got all of this stuff ready to go. It's the reinforcements.
So where do you rank a gun safe for the Purge?
I would say top tier.
Seriously, wow. Okay.
I think, again, like we said, for the Purge purposes, I think guns are one of those like go-to. That's the most obvious. Again, I haven't seen the movies, but I'm pretty sure no one's got like a slingshot in there. They're probably going for the guns. So I would say that's probably pretty important. As for real life, I'd say they're very important if you own a firearm. That the rest of that is totally off topic, but for Purge purposes, I'd say that's pretty important.
Wow. Okay. All right then. Lastly, this is the final one. I'll just, by the way, remind everybody who's watching, because I know some people have joined in since I last mentioned this. Check out the giveaway in the description. And this week we're giving away a Blink Mini indoor camera. So go check that giveaway out. It's really easy to enter. You just need to be 18 or older and live in the US, and then you're qualified as long as you go ahead and follow the instructions on that page. So, all right. The final device here, this is a category. We're not talking about the Echo Dot specifically. This is the 3rd gen Echo Dot. But just kind of the idea of the smart assistant or the smart speaker, right? So in a daily setting, I've got like 5 of these around the house. Like they're everywhere. And it is really useful. I love being able to just do voice commands and set up all these, routines and whatnot. Like they're fantastic. In a Purge scenario, I have doubts. But give me your thoughts, your initial thoughts on the smart speaker in the Purge.
So again, I think this falls into the same category as like smart plugs and lights and window sensors and all of the like home automation, fun smart home stuff. You can get really creative with routines and commands and things like that when it comes to smart speakers, because they basically serve as like a third-party hub for all of your stuff. Right. So if you have, whether it's an Amazon product, I won't say the name, or a Google product, if you have other ones that work with it, you can command them all at once, or you can have chain reactions set up. It takes a little patience and experimenting to get that to work, but if you got like the patience and the know-how, you can make something really cool with it. But as far as like the Purge goes, I think these are only as useful as the other products that you have, if that makes sense. Like,
and I'm gonna throw this out there. It might be less useful because with all these other products, smart home security, whatever, you can hop on your phone and do all the things, program everything, or turn that light on, or lock that door. But if you're using an Echo or a Google Home, whatever it's called, you've got to talk to it. And if I'm in a Purge scenario, the last thing I want to do is make any noise that will, bring the bad guys to me, right? So in a Purge scenario, I'm shutting all these things off. I'm unplugging them, whatever, and just like kind of doing everything on my phone. What do you think?
I think that's true. And if you have like, say, a soundproof area where you can speak into your phone, you can talk to the speaker through your phone.
Exactly.
So that's nice. But yeah, I don't think you're going to be yelling at like set a timer for 15 minutes as someone like creeps in. That's not going to be helpful. So yeah, I would put this like maybe like B or C, because it's probably only as useful as what other products you have around.
Thought.
Okay, all right.
I'm arguing against myself because in my scenario, like at my house, like I said, I've got a bunch of these devices all over the place, and they can also act as intercoms.
That's true.
And so similar to, what we've been talking about with the motion sensors and knowing what's going on around your home, the intercom system might be interesting where you can potentially hear where people are at, or you kind of keep track of things that way. You can kind of you drop in on this and listen in on whatever.
Yeah, that could be really useful. I didn't think about that. But I guess you could also do that with motion sensors, or you can pair them where you stick, say, a motion detector around where your smart speaker is. So when someone walks by it, you can have it drop in and see if they're making any noise. But I imagine they're probably going to want to be just as quiet as you are, right?
Well, that's probably true. Yeah.
Like, hey,
okay, that's a good point.
I'm going to kill you.
So now the question is, how low do we rank it then? Is this a D, or does it sit with the smart lights? Like there's some utility, but not much.
Yeah, I think I'd put it in a C. Probably a little more useful than the smart lights, but I don't know. Again, I think this one comes with so many variables that it's hard to put it much higher than that.
Yeah. Well, there we have it. That was all of them. That is the definitive, the definitive ranking of smart home products during the Purge. Anyway, it's just a fun way to talk about different home security products, and this is a topic that not only you cover over on SafeWise, but we also cover this here once a week or so on the Reviews.org channel. So hope people are around for that. And also, if you've been enjoying this and we've talked about a product that caught your fancy, go check the description. I've got a list of all these. Most of them have pages over at SafeWise where you can check out their best versions of all these. And then if I was able to find one on Amazon, I threw an Amazon link in there so you can go check those out. Anyway, so please go do that. Also, don't forget the giveaway for the Blink Mini indoor camera. That link is in the description as well, right up top. So you can go over there, and there are a few different ways that you can enter to win that. Follow Reviews.org on Twitter. Check out our home security page over at Reviews.org, and go check out the SafeWise YouTube channel where Katie is a contributor. So go check that out. Look at the terms and conditions and all that stuff. For now, I think that should just about wrap it up. Although I do like this. When a gang of 5 home invaders bursts in shouting wildly, she will get very confused. That is true.
Yeah, that's the trick. I maybe not give any home invaders any tips to yell at your Alexa.
I've gotten in trouble for that in videos in the past where I've, like, here's how you hook up this to, and I would just say it. And I get all these comments like, stop saying the name, she's going crazy in my background. Yeah.
I just try to give people a warning if I do a smart speaker, a video of just saying like, hey, heads up, this is going to happen. So either mute it or put in some headphones or something. I feel like maybe as video makers and content creators, especially like within the smart home world, we should come up with like a proxy name for.
Well, with
Alice or something like that.
I just call it Echo now, like with your Echo device, right? It doesn't work quite as well with Google or whatever.
We've just kind of started beeping out the name. It adds a little humor. Unless I'm not just swearing like crazy on video, but it helps. It's better than setting off your speaker.
All right. Well, Katie, thanks for joining me today. It was a lot of fun. I hope you had fun. I hope everybody else did as well.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. I appreciate it. And everyone, check out SafeWise on YouTube. We come up with videos about 2-3 times a week. A lot of times starring myself or our other video producer, Rebecca Edwards, who is a rock star. Yeah, check us out. We'd love to hear from you. And thanks again for having me, Craig.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, everybody. I'll see you next Friday, and that's where I will announce the winner of this week's giveaway. So I will see